This is one I've wanted to get to for a long time now. Today, I'm going to make it happen. Don't go away. Hey friends, and welcome to Fat Guy Productions. I'm Paul, coming to you as always from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. I've been really wanting to get to a Sweet 16 custom Corvette, and today I'm going to put that to bed. I have a crusty Vette with wonky wheels and bad paint just begging to be restored. So I'm going to pull it from my stash and I'm going to get going. I'll use shielded drilling to get the casting apart. It's very typical: base, body, interior, and glass. I find sometimes that I'm so freaked out about the drilling process, I make this a lot harder on myself than it really needs to be. If I would just drill a little bit more, the cars would come apart a lot easier. As it is, I always end up having to reach for a prier like my little screwdriver here. I'm glad this has a good hood, as they're often gone on this casting. I'm also happy to see that the glass is in pretty good shape. I'm not going to need to replace it. The wheels for sure have to go. The back axle is bent like an S, and it's going to be real trouble. But for now, I'm going to focus on the body and prepping the posts. To start with the posts, I'll break out my Vicks bits again and use those to clean up the ends. I'll put a dab of oil on the posts and then I'm going to drill them out. The oil really makes the drilling go so much better. I can't believe it took me this long to figure that out. Now, using my set from Bright Vision, I can go ahead and tap the post and then move forward. With the body prep, it can now go into the warm liquid goo phase. Lately, I've been getting the best, most amazing ever shots of the casting sinking into the depths. Yes, I am admittedly odd this way. I had a lot on my plate this week, so I set it aside in the goo for like 3 days. So, needless to say, when I pulled it out of the stripper, the paint was just falling right off. I whisked the car off to the sink for a quick bath, and now I can take a close look at it and figure out just how much trouble I'm in. Honestly, this body is pretty crummy. It may not look at it in these shots, but it ended up needing sanding, zinc plating, filing, steel wool, and a lot of polishing with my flits. Fortunately, the casting doesn't have a ton of details on it, so I can sand pretty aggressively and not have to worry about obliterating details. For the sanding, I use Tamiya fine grit sanding sponges, and for the steel wool process, I'm using some 4O steel wool. I'll put links for those products in the description below. On the topic of the links for products that I put in my descriptions, I just want to be perfectly clear so nobody thinks I'm trying to cheat them or steer them in any kind of surreptitious way. The bottom line is I do get a very, very small percentage from Amazon when you buy products I recommend. But, having said that, I never put anything down there that I don't use myself and love. A fine example of products that I love is my Flitz. And as you can see, my tube is getting pretty thin. I think it's time to order a new one. So I'll use one of my own links and order up a little bit of Flitz. After it was all said and done, honestly, the body came out pretty good. So it just needed a good cleaning and degreasing so that I could take it over and get some paint on it. The simplest restorations always seem to put up a fight, and that's going to be the case here. The first battle with this car is going to be with this paint. I'm planning on a restoration here, so I'm going to paint the car gold using Bright Vision Spectraflame Gold paint. I really hate these lighter colors, and the gold is no exception. But I want to restore the car. I hit the gold color I was after in the very first 2 coats. I was stunned how quickly the color changed. By the time I added just a couple more coats to get a smooth layer, the paint was more of a yellow gold, and I really wasn't feeling it. I sat on the paint job for a few days before I made the decision to drop it back in the stripper and repaint it. Knowing how early the car goes gold, in the repaint, I plan to do no more than 3 coats. I know I can't get a normal smooth finish that way, so I'm hoping to bring it all home with the clear coat. The tragically funny part is, later on I realized that the darker gold is actually closest to the original color. Damn. Anyhow, I did do the repaint. I gave it the clear coat from Bright Vision, and it all ends up working out great. The work I did on the body earlier really paid off and helped make this car shine. The base was actually in pretty good condition, so I just drop it into the Lime-A-Way mixture, and then I'll give it a good quick rinse. Fresh out of the Lime-A-Way, the base actually shines up pretty good just using my brass bristle brush, a little bit of steel wool, and of course, my friend Flitz. As normal, I'll cut off the old red lines, and then to see what I like the best, I'm just going to lightly press a couple of wheels on and see how they look, and once I've made a decision, I can then finish the base up. Other than going with my favorites, the deep dish chrome wheels, I've decided I'm just going to stick with the original sizes here. So I lightly press the wheels on, I back them up with the alignment tool, and then I seat them, and this will allow me to get equal seating on the wheels, and it'll allow me to protect the hubs. Now it's time to dive headfirst into a disaster. Remember how I mentioned the S-shaped axle? It took some serious bending to get it back in shape, so when I go to fine-tune it, this happens. Bam! Oh. Off goes the hub. Broke the axle right in half. I am totally screwed here. This kills the base, at least for now. These axles are crimped into the base, so I really am up the creek without a paddle, or up the creek without a base, however you want to look at it. I have absolutely no option here. I have to go to my junkyard, and luckily I found an old beat-up Corvette base. It is beat up, but it has all 4 axles. So I bust it out, and despite it being ugly as hell, it's going to have to work here. So this one's so bad, after a good cleanup, it needs a zinc coating, so I do that. Then I break out the flits and the brass bristle brush and the steel wool and all of the other stuff that you saw me do on the other base. But I'm happy to report that in the end, it finally comes out pretty nice. And I'm going to be able to move forward here. So I do dodge a bullet, and maybe someday I can find a way to repair that other base. So again, I'll pop on some new wheels, and it's really starting to look good, and now I can move towards wrapping things up. This build did require a little bit of detail painting, so I'm going to just knock that out, and I can call this one done. Honestly, the seemingly easy builds are the ones that can sneak up on you and kick you in the groin, as this one did to me. Despite the setbacks, I do finally get this one back together, and honestly, I think it came out pretty good. I hope you agree. Well, here it is in all its glory, my Sweet 16 Custom Corvette. It was really an unexpected battle, but I think I came out on top. I hope you loved the car and the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, click subscribe, and be sure to click the notification bell. Well, that's it for today. Just remember, sometimes adversity is what you need to face in order to become successful. Until next time, this is Paul from Fat Guy Productions, saying be good.